You were tuned in to G5 Jeff TV. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button as you come on in. Now, this is a special request video for a good friend of the channel, a friend of mine, period. Scott Lang. Big shout out to Scott Lang. He wanted me to do a video about how Joyce would fare against the top 10 heavyweights that's on Boxrec's list. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read off the top 10, the top 12 list for Boxrec, and then we're going to get into each individual matchup. Now, there are some people that feel like Joyce is not a top 10 heavyweight. You can argue it either way. I have Joyce number 10 on my list with that Daniel Dubois victory. I feel like Joyce is being fast tracked, of course, because of his age, but him getting a Dubois victory, Brian Jennings, Bermain Stavern, Joe Hanks, like he has good names on his resume for being 12-0 with 11 knockouts, and he's just been solid. And he's number 10. He's number 10 on my list. But if you feel like he's not top 10 and you have him in your top 15, then, you know, I can understand that as well. But let's run down Boxrec's top 12 heavyweights. Number 1, Tyson Fury. Number 2, Deontay Wilder. Number 3, Anthony Joshua. Number 4, Alexander Povetkin. Number 5, Alexander Usyk. Number 6, Andy Ruiz. Number 7, Michael Hunter. Number 8, Dillian White. Number 9, Derek Chisora. Number 10, Joyce. Number 11, Kubrat Pulev. Number 12, Joseph Parker. Now, what I'm going to do is, since Joyce is number 10 on this list, I'm going to go with the top 12. So I'm going to be breaking down basically 11 different fights. I'll start from the back end first. I'll start off with Joseph Parker. Joyce versus Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker has an advantage as far as footwork. He has an advantage as far as hand speed. He has an advantage as far as speed, period. Anybody that fights Joyce is going to have an advantage in the speed department. Like, he's just slow, like ketchup out the bottle slow. But the one thing that Joyce does is he can eat a shot, and also if he doesn't eat a shot, he circles out of danger very well. For a slower paced fighter, he circles out of danger very well, better than a lot of a lot of fighters with quick feet and quick hands. So I definitely got to give Joyce credit for that. Now, how do I feel he will fare against Joseph Parker? Now, me personally, I think Joseph Parker beats him. I think Joseph Parker is the type of guy where you can't just throw a jab and beat him. Like, you have to land some other things, and I think it'll be a close fight, but I think Joseph Parker would beat Joyce as of right now. Number 11, Kubrat Pulev. I think Joyce beats Kubrat Pulev. Pulev, he has that old school jab and grab type style, and Joyce is physically stronger than Kubrat Pulev, in my opinion. So a lot of the things that Kubrat Pulev likes to do, I think Joyce will be able to stop it. And I do think that Joyce would be able to establish his jab against Kubrat Pulev and be able to muscle him on the inside a little bit. So I feel like Joyce can actually beat Kubrat Pulev. He might stop Pulev. I think he could stop Pulev, but that's a definite victory for Joyce. Now, number 9, Derek Chisora. This fight, this would be an interesting fight. I have a lot of respect for Derek Chisora, and he just fought Alexander Usyk. I felt like he went into that fight with just one game plan, and I think if Derek Chisora went into a fight with Joe Joyce with that one game plan, he would have some success. But I think Joe Joyce, I think that's a fight Joe Joyce can definitely win against Derek Chisora. Again, that's a tight fight, but I would slightly favor Joe Joyce in that fight. I think he will be able to land some other things other than a jab. And Derek Chisora is throwing wide hooks, and that's about it. So defensively, Joe Joyce should be solid in that fight, and I think Joe Joyce would beat Derek Chisora. Now, number 8 on Boxrec's list is Dillian Whyte. I don't think he beats Dillian Whyte. I don't think he comes close to Dillian Whyte, and people are down on Dillian Whyte because what happened in the Alexander Povetkin fight, and that's understandable. But Dillian Whyte was dominating that fight prior to that perfect shot that Alexander Povetkin landed. First of all, Joe Joyce is not capable of landing that type of shot on Dillian Whyte. I feel like Dillian Whyte, is a more experienced fighter, the better technical fighter, the better boxer, and he gives you enough head movement to where you're not going to jab his head off. So I feel like Dillian Whyte would beat Joe Joyce. I think he would beat Joe Joyce pretty easily. Number 7, Michael Hunter. Michael Hunter, I felt like he beat Alexander Povetkin on the Anthony Joshua, Andy Ruiz 2 undercard. I think VP Shane, I think he had it the other way. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm bugging. I had Alexander Povetkin beating Michael Hunter by a round, and I think VP Shane had it the other way. But either way, it was a highly competitive fight. Now, Joe Joyce versus Michael Hunter. I think Michael Hunter wins that fight. It's similar to Dillian Whyte. I feel like he's a better technical boxer. I feel like he has better foot movement. I think Joe Joyce definitely has a shot in that fight because Michael Hunter, he stands in the trenches a little too much for me. Like, he'll have his moments where he kind of just want to stand there and just bang, and that's what he did against Alexander Povetkin and got himself in trouble several times. But I feel like Michael Hunter is a better technical fighter, and I think Joe Joyce fights Michael Hunter. I think Michael Hunter beats Joe Joyce. Now, coming in at number 6 is Andy Ruiz. This one is strictly what Andy Ruiz is going to show up. If it's the Andy Ruiz that showed up in the second Anthony Joshua fight, then Joe Joyce beats him. But if the good Andy Ruiz shows up, Andy Ruiz has enough hand speed, has enough head movement to where I feel like he would beat Joe Joyce. So it's a matter of what Andy Ruiz is going to show up. Number 5, Alexander Usyk. This is a good fight. This is a good fight. Joe Joyce, Alexander Usyk. I don't think Joe Joyce can beat Alexander Usyk. I think he would fight Joe Joyce the same way he fought Derek Chisora. Usyk doesn't have the most exciting style at heavyweight, but it's effective. I think Usyk's footwork is too good. Hand speed is too much for Joe Joyce, and they fought before, so they have some history. But I don't see Joe Joyce beating Alexander Usyk. Now, number 4, Alexander Povetkin. Again, this is another fighter where it's like it depends on which guy shows up. Now, if the Alexander Povetkin that showed up against Michael Hunter, if that fighter shows up, there's a pretty good chance he beats Joe Joyce. But if that Alexander Povetkin that showed up against Dillian Whyte shows up, he could get beat. And I know y'all probably thinking, like, what are you talking about? Like, he knocked Dillian Whyte out. No, Alexander Povetkin, like, everything he wanted to do got completely stopped by Dillian Whyte before he landed that shot. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying if that Alexander Povetkin shows up, then Joe Joyce has a shot. If I had to take a guess, I would say Alexander Povetkin beats Joe Joyce, close decision. I think with Joe Joyce, his main thing is if he can get his jab off and his jab is effective, then he's gonna have a lot of success. But the thing with Povetkin, it's easier said than done. For you to just be landing a jab in his face all night. He pivots from side to side very well. His footwork is pretty good, and he throws power hooks. So I could definitely see Povetkin winning that fight. So I'm on record. Povetkin would beat Joe Joyce. All right. Number 3, Anthony Joshua. AJ beats Joe Joyce. AJ's just a better fighter all the way around, and Joe Joyce has like thudding power. You can definitely tell he has thudding power, but Joe Joyce don't have that one hitter quitter. Like, he got that type of power where he got to grind you down, and that's not gonna work against Joshua. Joshua got a nice inside game, nice jab, good foot movement. That Andy Ruiz loss has made him smarter inside of the ring. I think he would just box Joe Joyce ears off. That's a definite loss for Joe Joyce. Number 2, Deontay Wilder. This is an interesting fight. And this is Joe Joyce jab versus Deontay Wilder's right hand. And Wilder's going to land the right hand. Like, Joe Joyce is not that defensively sound. I would say Wilder beats Joe Joyce. I just think he lands too many right hands. I don't care who you are. You can't take too many right hands from Deontay Wilder. I just think I can't really see Joe Joyce getting out of the way of those right hands. I could see that fight playing out similar to Dominic Breazeale, but just lasting longer. I just think Joe Joyce is a better fighter than Dominic Breazeale, but I got Deontay Wilder beating Joe Joyce. And then Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury definitely beats Joe Joyce. Just better skill set, better footwork, better defensively. I think you have to be a little patient as well in there against Joe Joyce. You can't just run in there and just try to do whatever you want with Joe Joyce, because he lands a couple shots and it affects you long term during the fight. I think Tyson Fury is a little too smart for that, and I think Tyson Fury would beat Joe Joyce. So out of this list of 11 people, I think Joe Joyce would beat Kubrat Pulev. I think he would beat Derek Chisora. I think he would, let me see, who else did I have him beating? He would be close with Joseph Parker, but I think I had Joseph Parker beating him. Let me run this list back real quick. Joseph Parker, I think he would lose. Kubrat Pulev, I think he would win. Derek Chisora, I think he would win. Dillian White, I think he would lose that fight. Michael Hunter, I think he would lose that fight. Andy Ruiz, depends on what Andy Ruiz shows up. Alexander Usyk, that's a loss. Povetkin, close, but that's a loss. AJ, that's a loss. Wilder, that's a loss. Fury, that's a loss. I think he would lose to the majority of the guys in the top 10. But Joe Joyce is good enough to where if those guys are having an off night, Joe Joyce is a live dog in a lot of those fights. But out of the 11, I can only say definitively that he would beat 2 guys, and that's Kubrat Pulev and Derek Chisora, and 2 maybes. Maybe Alexander Povetkin and maybe Andy Ruiz, depending on which one of those guys show up in their fight. But this video was for Scott Lang. Big shout out to Scott Lang. Hey, I want everybody to get in on this. The Boxrec top 12 is in the thumbnail of this video, so take a look at it. Y'all let me know how many victories Joe Joyce would get out of the top 11 guys in Boxrec's list. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. G5Jeff TV, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Please share this video, support your boy. Support good content at all times. I appreciate y'all. Peace.